This is the moment that designers cherish.
The moment designers love.
It's the moment we bring our clients into the finished product for the very first time.
The moment we show them how it has all come together to create the home of their dreams.
This is the reveal.
The story of this home really begins at the front gates. You drive up to these pillars that are from the 1940s, and the gates open to this beautiful rolling hill property. And as you round the bend, you come upon this, and it sits here so stately, so traditional, yet modern. We call this historical modern, and I'd love to tell you the story. When I got the call to design this house, I flew out and we sat right here on this wall. We looked at what the possibilities would be and we started to dream. We knew we wanted new, but we wanted to pay homage to this very old property and what was started here years ago in the 40s. Leaving this section was critical. This is all the original stone, and then we tried to match that stone on the real house, and I think we did a pretty good job. I just cannot get enough of the details. We've got copper as many places as possible, slate roof. You can see that the light fixtures are also oldened copper. I love that contrast between the light and the dark. Everything happens right at your entryway. So putting it all together here, you can feel the authenticity. Look at the gas lanterns. They're always going by the front door. Now, if you can't have everything gas, just use electric on the others, but the front door really matters. With the size of this home and the heights of the ceilings, we had to have a huge front door. But to help with that, we went with a glass transom above, and that really adds up to the scale needed to answer to this home. Look at this kitchen family room. This is the client's favorite part of the house, and I get it. It's all one big open space with a ceiling that is 29.5 feet tall, pitched to a 1412, which means very steep, ending with focal points, both sides, one a fireplace and one the kitchen hood. That is creating an essence of symmetry, which feels really good in a space like this. All of this area leads to an extended outdoor space, which is enjoyed with the doors all the way open. That sense of history is celebrated by these R.W. Guild pendants, hanging very low and repeated. They have so much strength and reminiscence of history. And then right in the middle of them, this very modern hood with this undulating brass that you know I love. Adding to this space and meeting up with the scale was critical. You can see how high the hood goes. Also, the refrigerators are super high and we have lots of storage. I love having two 36-inch fridges so I can just see what I want. Now let's talk about double islands. Even in a smaller home, if you can find a way to work in a second island, it works so well as you function in your kitchen. Here's where you serve the drinks, gather the plates, wash them, and here is where you prep and create. And this family cooks all the time. Now let's get down to the details. We'll talk about hood first. You can see this blade that creates a shelf not to put anything on, and this undulating brass metal work. All of this is craftsmanship. It's artisan, and you can almost feel the artist's hand. This answers to adding integrity to your home. Then the details on this quartzite. You can see this overgrown, rounded edge, and yes, the OG edge is coming back. I've used quartzite throughout the kitchen. Quartzite is as hard as granite and as light and beautiful as marble. You can see the veins, but they're a little more subtle. And this is where I use just a simple miter edge detail. rolling right into this integrated kitchen sink. I love this faucet from Waterworks and the integrity that it brings, showing off these nuts and bolts as you see the workings of this faucet. I think I hear the word butler's pantry with almost every client I have. It's a must if you can fit one in. This is also called the dirty kitchen. This is where we do a little bit of the messy stuff so we don't have to bring it out into our real kitchen. In the 1940s, a space like this would have been called a lantern. That's because it has light almost on all four sides. This is the kitchen nook, and it's absolutely defined by the steel windows and the views that you get looking out. Love this space. This is a family that really does use their dining room, so we kept it very open to the family room. Really easy to serve from the kitchen. And I like to prepare it so that it looks maybe informalized. I threw all of this collection of white terrains right all over the table and in the cabinets themselves. I don't think you can ever have enough of this kind of collection. I also partnered this with a more modern style buffet with all of this undulating reeded wood. And now you can see how the light just floods the space coming from these steel windows. And now this is the sexy wet bar. I love doing small spaces because I can really get into the details. So let me tell you, this light fixture is from R.W. Guild, and we have this beautiful way of hanging it with this weight, and we can create and put it anywhere we want in the space once we have the junction box. Here, I decided to go with these modern brass shelves, and I thought at first I would put all of the liquor on it, but then I saw this antique collection of all of these ice buckets. Had to have them. You can see the dark graphite slab material with just those few marbleized sections. Over here we have a metal shelf that is here just to hold the artwork. Again, finding purpose and place in everything. We took the backsplash all the way up because I can never have enough marble. In the entry, I feel like everything has to come together and invite you into the home and the particulars. Here we had to have authenticity. So at the front door, we have the gas lanterns, we have the steel doors, and look at this beveled glass window in a splayed opening, giving all that surgence to the window itself, a limestone window sill, and then of course this Fiore Bosco marble on the floor. I wanted a sense of authenticity just through every single touch, everything we chose. So you can see the white oak flooring, again with the marble. And in this home, we decided overall, most of the walls are the very same color. We went with an authentic plaster in a light, moody tone. And then we contrasted the trim throughout all the baseboards and door trims. Look down these hallways. This is a very linear home, where this serves as a vertebrae and all the rooms split off of this very open style leading to the master suite, leading to the kitchen and to the stairway that we're delivered to all the way down there. This is a room I pictured from day one. I wanted to walk through the front door and have this office as a sanctuary with wood trim all over the ceilings and walls and creating nothing but a respite of view to the outside that just delivers. You can see all the way toward the signature 15th hole here at the Sedgefield Golf Course. I want to point out the value in having vintage rugs in connection with some of these modern vibes. This brings the history, this brings that texture, and I loved finding this rug, celebrating the blue tones and also the butterscotch, which really goes well with our leather chairs. I know this offers a spot for my client to sit and have just a minute of sanctuary. And that's what this room's all about. Evidence of who they are, who he is, and an area for him to relax and feel warm. I know we delivered that. This is really more than an outdoor space. Because it's covered, we can do so much in this area, but it has to remain durable and super comfortable. I love this double-sided fireplace, and through it you see this 10 by 30 pool, and it's always heated. One thing I love about this design is a raised side coping so that we can sit down in case we don't want to get in. It's so comfortable, all lined with that Indiana limestone. Look at this territory. This is a space where you can indulge. Looking at the limestone tile, you can see evidence of pattern changes, different size, one from another. I kind of remember drawing this on a napkin to quickly let them know the lay that I wanted this limestone. This is where all the pizza making takes place. And yesterday I was in my favorite store, Textures, here in High Point, and I found all of these cool wooden trays, even this to lay the pizza on. And I know that later this afternoon, he's gonna start cooking. This is a real fire clay pizza maker right next to the barbecue grill. Everything is so set for fun here. I can't get over it. This home actually sits amongst hole 11 to 15. That's how large the property is, all 13 acres. And then, as if there is not enough golf adjacent, of course, a putting green. Right at this end of the big long hallway, we lead to the primary suite. You can see how I took the wood floor and created a pattern that really encircled this space. And I did the same thing up in the ceiling to really capture it and sort of bring that ceiling down because our ceilings are so high. And now the primary suite, which is very privatized in this floor plan, which of course we all love, but it is truly a place that is tranquil and meant to hang out in and to feel serene. All the colors are neutral and warm. You can see the fireplace with the limestone surround. We've hidden the television in this piece here, and it'll just rise up and they can see right from their bed. When I was designing this room, I really wanted to have the beam structure celebrate this cool copper ceiling. You can see where I chose to use a very clean beam instead of something that is patinaed. That again is how we celebrate this historical structure, but putting something with a taste of modern to it. Leading from the primary suite is this fabulous indoor area. Look at these views. You can see all the way to the golf course and the pond, and then all of these oak trees frame yet another pond down here with the original boathouse with that Pennsylvania slate that we refurbished and put on top, and then the gazebo. This is a home where weddings will happen. This family thinks they will use this as an heirloom throughout the generations, and that's why so much attention was given to authenticity and integrity. This is the coffee cup corner. And this is everyone's dream, adjacent to their bedroom where they can make coffee or grab some drinks out of the drawer. I wanted to set it up as a little fancy spot because you walk right from the bedroom into your closet and bathroom. This is a respite, as you can see, and the sun just brightens the space. And I have to mention how gorgeous the roses are. As I approach designing bathrooms, I always think about what would make a gourmet bath. What are the components? Of course, starting with a bathtub. I love the look, the egg shape, the soft round, but I don't like just tossing it into the room. I love to give it place. Here we surrounded it with the slab material that leads right into the shower, offering a bench deep enough to lie on during your steaming, and also a double-headed shower. Not only do we have to fulfill all of the needs for the gourmet bath, we have to keep it warm and inviting, and we do that by using wood floors in your bathrooms. I know it's a surprise, but actually it's quite practical. You can wipe them right off, and it really offsets all of the hardscape in bathrooms. There is this sense of scale in the house that we actually have to answer to. So the larger shower was very critical, but also the ceiling and the celebration of that inset with the wood and giving place to the chandelier in the bathroom. The other lighting is very important too. Of course, we need to put our makeup on, and we can do that with the lights overhead. But these are the sexy lights, the lights that are demure and just give a glow. Many times these are the only lights on in the room toward the evening. Now this is a quartzite countertop, which means it's very resilient. And to make it even cooler and add that modern to the classic nature, I did an integrated sink, which bevels down to one single drain right here at the bottom. And then you can see the delicacy of the shapes of the faucetry. These little bevels all about make it a little bit fancy, a little bit feminine, and very beautiful. Of course, next to the gourmet bath is a gourmet closet. We filled this with all kinds of neutrals. This quartzite here called Mont Blanc with this cool waterfall edge. And then this closet all built in out of custom cabinetry, including mirrors, which makes it really easy. Some open shelves, and then a place to hold art. I think even in a closet, we need something beautiful to look at. And then this gorgeous urban electric light right over the island with all those details and charm of the old mixed with the new. A staircase just really is a focal point, and this one is very important in this architecture. Right after you walk through the entryway, this is what you look down the hall and see. Making it special was my goal. So instead of every step being out of the regular wood treads, I decided the second to last tier would be this Fior di Bosco marble. Then we step onto a wood platform, really giving place for the plants and the artwork instead of feeling like an under the stair compartment that you don't know what to do with. I love designing a craft room. I have more freedom, I can bring in more patterns and more color. Also, pattern after pattern works. So we've got this cute pattern on the bar stools, and then look at all the variety that we get from the wrapping paper itself, leaving it out and exposed to add this sense of festivity and fun and color. That's why I chose to go with this blue cabinetry. It's actually stained with this kind of Bar Harbor blue finish. We went with the sturdy countertop that you just could not ruin. And of course, just leaving your cards out, your ribbon, make it easy to use. That will be a lot more fun and it'll look more festive. I even tried to bring pattern into the actual window coverings, bringing in that teal color. And then of course the rug with all the colors involved. Coming right in from the garage, as you would expect, is the mudroom, and I still care about how it looks. I love all this linearized white oak with all of the beautiful brass hardware. Adjacent to that, of course, the laundry room, where we went with lighter cabinetry, but we painted over white oak so we could still have some texture. And then a little fun, we threw a brass hanging rod here for the clothes to dry, and then used this high gloss brick for the back and all of the accents. And why not have a beautiful light fixture in your laundry room? After all, you're in it every day. This is brass with these zinc shades. And coming back to the island, I decided to show off a little bit and put this beautiful quartzite countertop with now a blue island finish. Now we're in the ultimate gym. I love designing this space. Again, so much volume to deal with. So I had to paint the ceiling a very dark color, and then I added the wood beams. But the real interest in this space is the reeded walls. We had so much height to add up to, and I wanted this to feel warm. So I want to show you how we dealt with it. These pieces only came 8 feet long. So in order to reach this really tall ceiling, I created this fin out of brass, which really just intersects with the wood and sits proud about 1/4 of an inch. Adds a little interest and some texture. Oh my gosh, and the floor is cork. I love this color, and it's so much prettier than a plastic floor. It almost imitates the wood floors, so there's not as much of a transition. I've always wanted to design a double bedroom where we have poster beds and it could be a sleepover room, and that's what they asked for. I wanted it to feel warm and cozy in here, so we went with a moody tone rather than a white. And then so that the ceilings would be appreciated, we did what I call nickel board in the ceiling, leaving just a nickel gap. And now the beds. Oh my gosh. I just wanted the girls to come in here and just think this was so fun and feminine. We went with petals on the lamps. We've got roses in the room, a little fluffy fringe, and then a window seat where they can just look out and read a book. I feel like a powder bath has just got to deliver. So we decided to go with this vinyl wall covering that's in a chevron, and it really echoes a sense of wood tone, and then a unique vanity. You can see the finger pull goes both up and down to use it. And then we went with a gray sink from Kohler and a Chepo de gray porcelain on the back wall, mixed with these cool urban electric light fixtures and a leather-held mirror. I love this space, and it really delivers for the game room adjacent. On the upper level, I went with kind of a blue theme. We used the paint color called denim. You can see I pick it up in all of the rugs that I've just thrown around. And as we transition from the hall into this game room, I thought it'd be cool to bring in the white oak and really set it apart with a shroud. Looking into this space, oh my gosh, we've covered everything. We have ping pong, we have a game table, we have a pool table and a lounge. And of course, the latest and greatest Samsung TVs everywhere. All of this leading over to this bar. The idea was that the client would enjoy this space kind of like a men's club. When the golfers would come around, they'd come up here, have a drink, and then get themselves outside on the deck and enjoy the views. So we created a bar that had a little attitude. You can see that right here in the choice of the countertop material. It's much more busy and rich and dark, and I really appreciate what the earth gives us. So coming around, we decided to go with a stainless steel black nickel sink along with a carbon faucet. And then I wanted to fancy up the shelving. So you can see here I've added that brass shelving that I love. All of that detail separates it and keeps it from looking so much like a kitchen. Over in this area, we did another bit of shelving, once again adding this brass detail, just something to help it stand out and be interesting. And then this is the area where you hobnob. Everyone loves a swivel. You've got your drink, you're just happy you might put your feet up. I love this space. This is my favorite. So, games over here, lounge over here. I started with this beautiful fabric that had this sort of, I say, Japanese style to it, which brings in a lot of organic blue tones, and then this huge sectional, all of it leading right to the outdoors. Not only do we have one side that opens all the way, we have another, and this creates a corner opening. It could not get any better than this, starting with bluestone on the floor, and then choosing the wood finish for the ceiling, knowing that it would not exactly match our white oak and wanting to see this natural wood tone up next to the brick color, which, by the way, is Revere Pewter, my favorite color. We've got a dining area, the lounge seating, 2 sofas. This can handle a lot of people, and I think the idea was for it to be a spot where they could sort of perch out over this golf course and watch the players and just enjoy this huge, beautiful view. This traditional modern home that's historical and yet contemporary, sharing all of the details that matter and create authenticity, means a lot to me. Plus, showing you these views. Thanks for watching.